Good morning, my friends. It is Sunday, May the 10th, and it is Mother's Day. So I thought I would roll right out of bed and come down to the kitchen and do a great Mother's Day cook with me. What's better on Mother's Day than nice, hot cinnamon rolls from the oven? There was a recipe on the MyWW Weekly this week for cinnamon rolls. I looked at it, using it as a base, but changing it up a bit, lowering the points, and I think my dough might be a little better than the dough that they recommend using. So we'll see. I don't know. I just sat here and kind of made it up as I went along. We'll see how it turns out. If you're seeing this, they must have turned out okay. So let's get started because we do need to let our dough rise a little bit. In this bowl, I have 2 cups of all-purpose flour, 1 tablespoon of baking powder, and 1/4 teaspoon of salt. You can use self-rising flour if you have that. I just prefer to make my own. So that's what's in the bowl. And to that, we are going to add some yeast. Now this is the SAF instant yeast. You do not have to proof this in water. You can put it directly into the dry ingredients. And I am going to use 2 teaspoons of that. And also, because this is a sweet dough, I'm going to add some powdered sugar. This is the Swerve confectioner sugar that is 0 points for any amount. You can, of course, use real confectioner sugar. You just need to add in the points for that. Okay, we're going to give this a stir. And then we are going to add in 1/2 cup of non-fat plain Greek yogurt. And just start incorporating that. You know, with this kind of dough, it's all about the finesse. It's all about being patient. And then to enrich the dough a little bit, we are going to add in an egg. And then we're going to start adding in a little bit of water until we reach the consistency of the dough that we want. And it is time, I think, to get our hands in here. Because to me, that is the best way to mix the dough. And we're just going to add in a couple tablespoons at a time. I am going to keep working with this dough, just adding a few tablespoons at a time until I get it the right consistency, and I will be back to show you what it looks like. Okay, so after the dough was all mixed, I just put it out onto the counter with a little bit of flour and kneaded it for about 2 minutes, and it looks like a pretty nice dough ball. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it back in the bowl, and I'm going to cover it and put it in a warm spot for about a half hour or so. Just to see if we can get a nice little rise on it. It doesn't have to be, you know, huge, but I definitely want a little bit of rise. And then we will roll it out and make the cinnamon rolls. So after this has a chance to sit, I'll be back. So you can see our dough did rise, so that's very nice. And I should have sprayed the bowl and I didn't. So I am just going to put it out onto a piece of parchment paper that I sprayed with non-stick spray. I use the butter flavor. And now we are just going to roll it out a little bit into like a 12 by 9 inch rectangle. I'm one of those crazy people that really likes working with yeast dough and all kind of doughs. I know a lot of people are afraid of the 2-ingredient dough, but once you start really working with it, excuse me?
It's too big.
It's too big?
Yeah.
Okay, so, you know, I don't measure. Doug said that's too big. I think it looks pretty darn good. So we're gonna measure it. Okay, so it's a little big. You know, I don't want it so thick, so I think that'll be fine. Here, geez, you know, everybody's a critic. Let's see him criticize as he's munching on these in a little bit.
I'm sure they'll be delicious.
Okay, so there we go. Do it 12 by 9. Do as I say, not as I do. I'm gonna take some more butter spray and just spray it on the dough. You can also, if you use like the spray butter, you could use that. You don't have to use anything. Then I have 1/3 of a cup of the Swerve brown sugar. Now, the Swerve brown sugar is 0 points for all quantities. If you're using something like the Splenda or Truvia blends, be careful because they have points as you go up. You can just adjust accordingly. Get it all the way out to the edges. Now, I just kind of came up with 1/3 of a cup. Not really sure if that's what I wanted to use, but that looks pretty good. I have a tiny little bit left in this jar, so you know what? I think I'm going to use it because it's 0 points. So we'll say I used 1/3 of a cup plus 2 tablespoons. How's that sound? Actually, it was probably more like a tablespoon. And then we are going to do some cinnamon. About a tablespoon. I'm going to do it in increments. So I really don't know if we're going to use a whole tablespoon. Yeah, we probably will. This is 1½ teaspoons going on right now. And a little bit more. You know, this can all be done to your taste. That's the great thing about it. Okay, that looks good. Now, the fun part. We're gonna roll it up, starting with the long edge. You know, the 12-inch edge. And roll it up as tightly as you can. You should have got this to the end just a little bit more, because you want every single cinnamon roll to have lots of yumminess in it. Okay. Now we are just going to pinch and seal. Make sure it's nice and sealed. So we don't explode in the oven. Here, I'll turn it so you can see it a little bit better. Not perfect, but looks pretty good. And now we need to cut this into 12 equal portions, which I'm sure I will screw up. So I think we're gonna switch camera people.
Just cut it in half and then...
Okay. Here we go. I'll do it. We are going to, we're going to cut it in half.
Cut it in half again.
Cut it in half again. I'm getting instructions. It's so nice living with an engineering kind of guy.
Cut each one of those in thirds.
Now cut each one of these in thirds. And we are just going to place them in our baking dish. Oh, they look good. Okay, I'll be back to show you what the dish looks like when they're all in there. They are in the pan, ready to go into the oven at 350 degrees, and I'm gonna check them at about 20 minutes and see what they look like. I could have definitely used a smaller pan. I did not need to use a 9x13. I probably could have used like a, I don't know, 11, what is it, an 11x7, but I'm just gonna keep them in here. Okay, here they are out of the oven. I pushed them kind of down just so it's easier to glaze them. So for our glaze, I have a half a cup of the Swerve confectioner sugar. That is 0 points for any amount. If you don't like that, by all means, use real powdered sugar. You're just gonna have to count the points. And then I'm gonna add 2 tablespoons of whipped cream cheese, and 2 tablespoons is 42 grams. I'm just gonna weigh it out because I think it's just easier than trying to measure it. A little bit more. A little bit more. Close enough. Okay, and then we're going to also do 42 grams of non-fat Greek yogurt. This is my homemade. And I forgot the vanilla. Let me grab the vanilla. Just a little bit of vanilla. And then we are just going to work that in. I think I'll start with a spoon. If we have to thin it out, we can use a little milk, but I want to see how this turns out first, because I almost want to ice it and not pour it. There we go. Look at that. That looks good. Let me see if I can get some lumps out. I probably should have sifted the sugar, but that is perfect. Okay, now we are just going to divide it over all the cinnamon buns, spread it out, and give them a try. Now I know, being a WW person, what is the most important thing about these? The points. You ready for this? Well, first of all, let me start by saying, yes, some are a little bigger than others. Next time, I have to make sure the roll is a little more even. The ends were a little bit thinner than the middle. That's why the difference. But this was the first time I did them, so definitely something to work on. But that being said, the points on all three plans are the same. I want to double check green, but I'm pretty sure it's the same. 2 points for 1 cinnamon roll and 5 points for 2 cinnamon rolls. I think that is pretty darn good. Now, if you choose to use real powdered sugar and real brown sugar instead of the monk fruit or swerve versions, then your points are definitely going to go up. But you know, that's the great thing about WW. We all make our own choices and eat what we are comfortable with. So there we have it. Our cinnamon rolls. I will be back with a family taste test. Okay, so here is our reactions. Adam said it was very good, but he could do without the icing because he's not an icing fan. Andrew says,
Very good.
very good. Thumbs up from Doug, and I agree, it was very good. I would definitely make these again, especially for a bun this size for 2 points and 2 for 5 points. It definitely makes for a nice little treat, and I think we'll do it again. The dough was fantastic. It was
Perfect.
it was just so good. So definitely a good dough. So there you have it. So there you have it, my version of a WW cinnamon roll that honestly doesn't taste like a WW cinnamon roll. I can't even say enough about it. It was so delicious. Everything about it. The dough was phenomenal. It was so soft and just absolutely perfect. So I hope you guys like this. I will definitely get this recipe up on my website and link it in the description box below. And that's it for me. Have a fantastic day. And if you haven't already subscribed, I would love you to hit that subscription button. Hit the notification bell and leave me a comment below. Let me know what you think and give this video a thumbs up. Have a great day, everyone, and I will be back with more Cook With Me's, more full day of eating, and more day in the life because I just love recording for you guys and it's a lot of fun. And you keep me on track. Have a great one.